Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines here. May be a new path in the United States for accredited investors. Even if you're not, you're going to want every bit of that. Zakanoff versus Ripple. We're going to get Jeremy Hogan insights on that. BRICS and the US dollar slipping. We're going to tell you how fast, and it is fast. India and Russia inking a new deal. You're going to need to know about it. The Chinese Yuan is making history against the US dollar, and it's not good, ladies and gentlemen. And we got CBDC Ripple partner, and we're going to talk about XRP, multi-year ascending triangle. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. $1.25 trillion market for cryptocurrency, off by 2.3%. Bitcoin now just over $29,000 and $18.98, just under $1,900 for Ethereum. Tether market cap is 81.4 billion plus. We're watching it closely. 45 cents for XRP, off by 3.8% in the 24-hour and 6.5 on the 7-day. Ladies and gentlemen, link to PolySign, alternative trading platform. I tell you something, or trading system, ATS, right? So now you can actually, as an accredited member, buy these products and make a market with someone else who wants to buy and sell them on the back end. This is remarkable how they are growing so quickly. Not to mention, it's some of the most incredible names in digital assets, in artificial intelligence, in autonomous drones. You guys know the drill. This is where you find the best products for the up-and-coming industries and technology and the companies behind them. It's right here at Link to. Click the link underneath the video and make sure you find out if you're accredited, because check this out. This right here is a introduction of a new bill called the Equal Opportunity for All Investors Act of 2023, which will create a new pathway for investors to gain accredited investor status. Take a listen.
For purposes of amendment, the gentleman from Nebraska, Mr. Flood, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Equal Opportunity for All Investors Act of 2023 is an important step towards providing more opportunities to a larger slice of the American investing public. I'd like to thank Chairman McHenry, Ranking Member Waters, and my Democratic colleague, Representative Wiley Nickel, all for their support. This bill would expand the accredited investor definition to include individuals that are certified through an exam written by the SEC and administered by FINRA. It is my firm belief that the accredited investor definition should not be tied exclusively to wealth. Wealth does not translate directly to investment know-how. There are plenty of wealthy individuals that know little to nothing about investing, and there are people who may not have great means but are very sophisticated investors. So why not create a pathway for knowledgeable investors to participate in our private markets? This common sense bill does just that. It would direct the SEC to create an accredited investor exam that will be thorough, but that somebody with financial sophistication should be able to pass. This bill includes a long list of parameters to be included in this exam. All of them are intended to ensure investors understand the differences between private and public offerings and some of the potential risks that could emerge from those differences. The bill strikes an effective balance. It brings more investors into the accredited investor pool, but contains guardrails that would filter out individuals that do not fully understand private offerings and the investment risks associated with them. I'm proud of this bipartisan bill, which was the product of a robust discussion with our colleagues across the aisle. We have legislation today that would make for a thorough but fair examination for investors that want to become accredited investors. I urge my colleagues to support this bill, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Hey, let me tell you, that's a bipartisan bill introduced right there. And I bet you this, I'm going to be talking to Link to make sure they've seen this, because I'm going to tell you, there's no other company out here doing everything they can to democratize finance for all of us. And I bet if they get a hold of this and find that it's a good bill, they're going to get behind it too. Let's see what happens. Stuart Alderati says, big thanks to Yada Gao here for inviting him to speak at MIT. Great students, great questions. Always appreciated when I was a student. to learn from someone who actually participates in the industry they are talking about. And you know what? It is nice. And it's nice to know that Stuart was able to sit there and give them some information that he won't change his mind about 18 months after being there. Oh, brother. Now, the Zakhanov case, we gave the update in this morning's video. If you didn't catch it quite quickly here, I'll just recap. It was a hearing about getting the lead of Zakhanov and Bradley Sostak to have their class action submitted, basically, and to really recognize all XRP holders inside of their class action, which is BS. We do not feel that way, at least 75,000 plus of us, right? So they did not let John Deaton participate in oral comments, but he is submitted an amicus brief to be amicus curiae, so we'll see how that plays out as well. But nevertheless, you know, this is the comments that were highlighted here. I want to share them. The original thing from Crypto Mean Guy says, it's not about how much Zakhanov lost in trading. It's about how much he's being paid to sue Ripple. People don't spend several years pursuing justice for $250 of losses per se, or $500, I believe, as was claimed. And Mr. I says here, I'd like to know who's funding his lawsuit, because no attorney is doing it on a contingency fee to get a percentage of the $500 that was originally invested. Then he tagged attorney Jeremy Hogan and said, I know I wouldn't do it for a third of $500. Jeremy Hogan chimes in and adds this. I think the play here is to let the SEC do all the heavy lifting as to the SEC 5 violation, Title 5 violation, and then if it is successful, then try and sign up 10,000 people to a class action. That's a fee on $5 million, and the XRP plaintiffs each get a certificate for a turkey. You know, it does feel like this is being done as a defense mechanism, right? It says, didn't the SEC say on the record that Section 5 doesn't apply to secondary markets? And that I do vaguely remember that, but I don't see here any response from Jeremy. We'll keep you up to date on that. But it does feel like this was all a weapon to be used against them. This was added here by Yasin Mubarak here. It says that the Zakhanov frivolous lawsuit will be used by the SEC as leverage in the negotiation with Ripple. The SEC will say to Ripple, if you lose, you will be facing a class action lawsuit with thousands of people demanding compensation for their XRP investment loss, and their attorneys will charge hefty fees. I would not be surprised if there is a behind-the-scenes coordination between the SEC and Zakhanov and his attorneys. Now, that is quite a damning thought. But it's certainly one that I can't take off the table, knowing the actions that I have seen from the SEC thus far. Knowing that the judge in this case for the SEC versus Ripple, claiming that there's been an unfaithful allegiance to the law, is this much bigger step than that? I don't think so. I think Yasin might be on to something here. Let's turn it to good news for a second here. Ripple partner People to roll out micro investment platform to conquer the Kenya and African market. Now, this is really positive news, and I want to bring you to the part that highlights it. We know that they've been in other regions thus far, so let's understand that, right? And let's know that here they say, fast forward to 2023, the People company and app is announced that it has begun the commercial rollout of its social micro investment platform for self-employed entrepreneurs and small medium enterprises, SMEs in Africa, beginning with Kenya. Notably, People plans to roll out its initiative via an initial partnership with Kenya's Tuk-Tuk Operators Network, known as TTON, a pan-African mobility network connecting tuk-tuk operators across 47 countries. And there's over 126,000 TTON members. How about that one? 1.6 boda operators across Kenya. This is not a small effort that's taking place. That's the point of this one. And this is not a small thing either. This is BRICS. And we know the BRICS Coalition is growing, and they are working very diligently to get away from the U.S. dollar hegemony that has been in place for decades. It says here that the U.S. dollar is sliding 10 times faster than the last 2 decades. This could bring on a much quicker conversation about the global reserve status of the U.S. dollar. Take a listen to some of these numbers here. The U.S. dollar is sliding 10 times faster than the last 2 decades. The U.S. dollar now represents about 58% of global reserves, down from 73% in 2001. That is significant, ladies and gentlemen. Developing nations experimenting with the de-dollarization initiative is speculated to currently lead dollar's decline. The dollar has dropped nearly 15% in the last 2 decades and continued to slide with fears of an upcoming BRICS currency. Now listen, we've been talking about this, and this is getting bigger and bigger, and you're going to see evidence of it right now. India, BRICS partner, Russia, BRICS partner, adopt SPFS, which is the payment system alternative that was created by Russia to be the alternative to SWIFT. This is what's happening, ladies and gentlemen. Don't believe it. It is still very, very true. India signs a deal to adopt Moscow's SPFS system for banking payments to Russia. It goes on further to highlight here, India, Russia had earlier agreed to settle payments through special rupee Vostro accounts. Russia can use surplus Indian rupees to conduct businesses in India or remit them back to Russia. It says China, India, and Russia have also developed their own financial infrastructures for cross-border payments, such as CIPS, UPI, and SPFS. And this is as January 2023 at the latest. It says here the number of participating banks in these alternative platforms remains limited. However, in their market share is very small, with increasing use of crypto assets in cross-border transactions, particularly for remittances. Alternative payment providers built on blockchain technology have emerged. That's what we're looking at. And look at this. It grows. Breaking. Argentina ditches the U.S. dollar to pay for Chinese imports in the yuan. Look at how quickly this is happening, ladies and gentlemen. Chinese yuan makes history. It overtakes the U.S. dollar as the most used currency in China's cross-border transactions for the first time in history. These are not small things of note here, and I do not find them to be mutually exclusive events from the world we're moving to with stable coins and CBDCs and new value protocols to settle and move value. I do not see those things as like separate events. This is all happening very timely in my eyes. John Deaton shared here on that note about that. He said the reason, because it was connected to his original post on China overtaking and making history on cross-border payments inside their country. He says, the reason I acquired XRP in 2016 was because of its use case for cross-border payments. Truth be told, I bought more in 2019 when Coinbase not only listed XRP, but highlighted its utility, while China reduces demand for the US dollar, is attacking, not embracing the crypto's utility. Look, I acquired XRP for the very same reasons, and I'm here to see that ultimate end goal take place. That doesn't mean I won't choose to take some profits along the way at some point, because I haven't until now, but I tell you, I am here for the Holy Grail, and it is to see XRP be used throughout the world in all areas, not just in remittances, but in the financial banking world too. And I do believe we're going to see that day happen at some point. Here is a point made here by Chainlink, and you're going to hear him talk about if CBDCs were on different chains, it's really just the same problem. Now, this is exactly what we've talked about for a lot of years with XRP and the XRP ledger, and we've heard many people at Ripple talk about this. The idea and understanding that if you have different protocols and every CBDC and bank and government has their own network, and you're still going to have friction to get all of those networks to be able to talk to one another. Chainlink is working on that exact problem, and so does the ILP, Interledger Protocol, and the XRP ledger. It all helps solve the problem. Listen to this.
CBDCs is another interesting topic where people have different views on it. I think the tokenization of all this stuff will to a certain degree create some governmental controls that some people may or may not like. And to another degree, it will increase the amount of value that can efficiently flow into both the traditional financial system and more importantly, into the crypto system. And those CBDCs, I think, will also need to be part of this messaging standard.
Correct.
Or not part of it, but they will need to utilize something of that sense, right? And so I don't think that a messaging standard, I think it also covers treasury management, basically. It doesn't just cover the securities or the commodities industry. Basically, this messaging standard across chains, because if CBDCs all have a different chain, it's really just the same problem, right? It's how do I transact from my treasury into a commodity, out of a commodity into a security, across 5 different chains through a single messaging system that makes it simple for my back end to do that as a bank or institution.
Exactly, while staying safe, secure, and keeping your information private that you don't wish to share. You know, when I see this, I think to myself exactly what I said here. I said ILP and XRP Ledger helped to solve this problem. And Zeddies came in and said, literally talking about Chainlink CCIP protocol as the universal blockchain messaging standard. Yes, I know this, Zeddies, and that's why I put what I put over top of it. Because the reality is what he's describing is competition. And competition is the greatest thing and accelerant for innovation and getting the best out of both companies. And when we see about acceleration, innovation, and who's being recognized, I can tell you, again, to just back up what we're talking about here, ILP and the XRP Ledger helped to solve that problem. And Montenegro is recognizing that, just like the Republic of Palau and Bhutan. Here they talk about kicking off their project they're implementing with Ripple and central bank digital currency with blockchain in Montenegro for their CBDC, ladies and gentlemen. And here we have a look at the TA from Eggrad Crypto, who gives us a look now at the multi-year ascending triangle. And what I love about this is going to give us the range of time here of when you could see a possible breakout from this ascending triangle. And obviously, those things can break down and fail. But he goes on to tell us here, the ascending triangle is a bullish formation that anticipates an upside breakout. Ascending triangles have a 72.77 success rate of meeting their potential targets. That means it has a 20-some% chance rate of failure, right? So looking at this with an 83 success rate of an upward breakout in bull markets. However, fakeouts to the downside are certainly a possibility. The end of the apex of the ascending triangle right here is showing finishing around August of 2024. Below the data will provide a glimpse when the breakout might happen in relationship to time and completed percentage of the AT, the ascending triangle formation. So if you look at this, duration, 853 days, 65%, which would be down here, right? May of 2023, and it says 70% chance of breakout, 919 days of July 2023. You can see that, I believe it is right there. Yep. And 80% in November of 2023, and they go up and get higher as we get from November on into August, right? So 80 to 95% you could see right here all the way up in the bands there with the duration days there. So as the closer we get here, the higher the percentage gets starting in November. Well, when I saw November at 80%, I thought to myself, well, November to March is really like a window for me to really pay attention to, and obviously, according to Triangle, August as well. But only because it made me think of the 2017-2018 bull run that happened, you know, at the end of 2017 going into 2018. And that maybe, you know, who knows, right? None of us know, you know, but the reality is we're watching the charts to really try to get an idea of at least some parts or periods on the calendar to try to pay attention to see if the charts hold up to that 77 or 72% chance of success rate, or whether they start to break down and break away from the indicator itself. These are things to watch for while we're waiting on a ruling from Judge Torres in the SEC versus Ripple. That's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below. I'll catch all of you on the next one.